When you read the Bible in the book of Genesis, you notice that man lasted hundreds of years. And then by chapter 6, God reduced the time, our lifespan, to 120. And when you get to Psalm 90, the Bible established that our days shall be 70 years and the strongest 80. When we look at life, we have to look at life that way. That if you are 70 years old right now, you ought to stand up and you ought to give thanks to God because He allowed you to enjoy a full life. That if you are 80 or over, you definitely have to stand up right now and give a shout to the Lord because you are counted among the strongest. Now, these bodies are breaking down. Now, we do the best that we can do, eating right, sleeping, exercising, and all of those wonderful things, so that we are able to do the will of God, that we are able to move, that we're able to live a decent life. But there is a place of acceptance. There is a place where we need to recognize that the grace of God is above every sickness. Now, the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 8 and 9, he said, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. We don't know what kind of sickness the Paul had, but he prayed for healing 3 times. Now, this is the same Paul that God used to perform many, many miracles. But here he is struggling with something in his body. He prays for it 3 times. And he said, God told him, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all of the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. Now, something very important here, that the Apostle Paul is not talking about being in bed, unable to do anything. What the Apostle Paul is establishing here is that the power of the grace of God enables him to do what he's called to do in spite of whatever sickness he's having. So that is the grace of God. Now, it is not God's will for you to be in your 30s and 40s and 50s and even 60s and be in bed, unable to move. God wants you to be able to move, to be healthy, to do all of those wonderful things that you can do at that age. Now, you have to accept, because age is not just a number. You have to accept that there are certain things that you cannot do. But one thing that God will always enable you to do is His will in your life. And the only person that can mess that up is you. And that's why we need wellness. We need wellness in order to be able to fulfill the will of God. But again, if you are not receiving the healing, because again, Paul didn't receive it, understand this, that the grace of God is sufficient for you to do what God have called you to do.